have been in a journey with Brother Zuhelmi, right, on the expectations of the program. We are going to be with you for 4 sessions. Yesterday was the introduction, it's not counted. So today is the first session. I will be talking about issues identifications in social initiatives. And Brother Hilmi, who came yesterday, he's going to be with you on Wednesday with Mr. Ghani on 2 topics, project management and fundraising and proposal writing. So I think you went through the whole expectations with Brother Zuhelmi yesterday. So my topic today is about issues identifications. And I cannot have the laptop here?
You can.
No, your laptop, the presentation laptop.
No.
Okay, because I have. Okay.
You can move the.
No, the presentation, the presenter view is not. Okay, no worries. Okay, before we start, who can tell me what is issues identification? I mean, from your perspective, at least maybe yesterday you have gone through discussion with Brother Zuhelmi or.
Again, what is it?
Issues identification. What's an issue?
Error.
Error? Problem? Huh?
Any problem in the society?
Problem in the society. Okay, more? Financial issue. All right. Huh?
Political.
Political issue, political stability.
Something that requires a solution.
Something that requires a solution.
Misunderstanding the issues.
Is misunderstanding the issue?
Misunderstands. Is it an issue?
Misunderstanding of?
An identification. To identify something.
So misunderstand an issue is an issue.
Could be. Could be.
Documentation.
Okay, I
To
think.
identify the issue.
Could be.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I jumped. Okay, our agenda today will be the issue identification and core process of need or issues identification. Brad shows categories of social need, need analysis tools, type of studies, stakeholder analysis, problem tree, objective tree, and prioritization of interventions. I don't know. Okay, move.
Is it working now?
It is working, but
Down.
Down.
No, up, down.
Yes.
okay, the issue is a problem that affects people in a specific place. A specific problem. For example, somebody says financial issue, right? The other says political issue. It could be also health issue. It could be family issue. It could be family problem. It could be kids problem. It could be whatever problem in the society is an issue. However, you should know exactly who are the people that are affected, and you should know exactly the place that you are working in. So if you have these 3 components, the problem, the field, the people, and the place, then you have a complete issue to start working on. I think yesterday you have went through your groups and named some issues, right? Right. So, okay. We will go through that during the practical time. So the process of issue identification starting from determining the issue, identifying the issue, naming the issue, and spotting the issue, then going through the need analysis, doing your studies, doing your, it could be like, we'll come to the studies later on, the types of studies, and then studying also the stakeholders, who are the players around this issue, and then we'll go to the prioritization of interventions, whether I'm able to really tackle this issue or I am not able, whether this issue is meeting or matching with my abilities or it is beyond my abilities. Okay, when we identify issues, How can we say this is an issue? How can we say this is an issue? Experience, okay. It's true, experience. But, okay, we'll come later on to the standard name.
Stopping the process.
Okay, observation maybe?
Okay.
Investigation.
Investigation. Investigation is a process to tell. Yeah.
Survey. Survey.
Survey is a tool.
Tool.
Yeah.
Planning.
Huh?
Planning.
Planning? I don't know. I don't think.
What we face in the current situation.
Yes. Okay. Okay, you're around. Yeah. It's not right. It's not wrong. Yes. We have
Fact and reality.
fake and reality. Can you explain more?
Fact. Dus fact and
Facts. Facts.
Yes.
Facts. Okay. I think around what she said just earlier. Something that is standardized, right? Okay. Okay. Allah, this is so difficult to change. Okay, we can say that there is a problem when we feel that there is a problem or observe that's a problem. Expressed needs. Expressed needs actually when you see people are writing the social media, they are complaining, they are demonstrating, people are, starting to talk about the problem. Okay, it's expressed. The first one is no, it's still felt. It's within the people. Normative needs, what you just have said before, when we have a standard, and we compare to this standard. For example, the standard of water per individual in the world is this cubic meter per individual, right? If in your society or in a specific society, the people are using less amount of water per individual, then there is an issue. So we can say according to the standard, we are less than the standard compared to the standard. Another one, for example, doctors to patients. The standards, the international standard is like this number, 1 to 10 or 1 to 5 or 1 to 20. However, in a specific society, 1 doctor to 1,000 patients. So this is an issue. Another standard, for example, the unemployment rate in a society should be within 4 to 7% of the society. Then if we go beyond it, then we are beyond the standard. So this is what they call it normative needs. Then the comparative needs. When you compare a specific situation to another situation. For example, you compare Malaysia to Indonesia. You compare Yemen to Saudi Arabia. You compare Russia to the United States. You compare China to Russia. This is a comparative. So at this point in time, you say, based on our comparison, based on our benchmarking, the gap between the first and the second is like this. So this is an issue. So those are the types of issues identification based on Bradshaw's suggestion. This is an explanation. I can keep the slides with our brother, so you can take it later on. Okay, now we will stop for practice. You have identified your issues. I think most of you, some groups they are still working on their identification. You have identified some issues yesterday. What we'll do today, we are going to consolidate whether your issues are the real issues that you want to work on throughout the project, throughout this 7 or 8 days, and also 3 months after that, or you need to change and alter and twist until you find the real issue that you are working on. So our objective of today is to work on the issue itself. Go back to your groups. I think this is divided by the groups, right? So okay, stay in your groups. Start to review your issues based on these 4 categories and see whether the issue that you have mentioned is fall under one or more of these categories. You are unable to do this issue within your current abilities, I think you have to think twice and ensure that you change the issue. Make it within your ability. That's the first thing. This process, until the end of today, we are going to work on this to filter it until we make sure that we can tackle this issue. And okay, the rest will come later on. The rest will come later on. Bradshaw. Let's have into this. Okay. Okay. When we talk about need identification, we have to do multiple things. After identifying the issue or naming the issue, it's not the final stage actually. We have then to go and deeply study whether this issue is a real issue or no. Whether this issue is, there is a consensus of this issue or no, and whether we are able to tackle it or no. So there are few ways. Those who are doing their masters and PhD, they know that their studies are either qualitative or quantitative. So you have to ensure that you are doing the right studies to ensure that your issue is a real issue, not only an issue in somebody's mind. Because sometimes there is an issue in somebody's mind, but it's not a real issue in the society. I will give you an example. I was watching a TED talk last time. There was an international organization supporting people in Africa in planting tomato. I think some of you have seen this famous TED talk. And they went to Africa, they taught them how to do the plantation, how to ensure that the plantation is growing well, how to fertilize the land, blah, 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 blah. And the people used to tell them, no, this is not the right thing. They ignored them. So they did the plantation. After they finished everything, the fruits, the tomato, just grown and things. Then the hippopotamus just came and destroyed everything. The hippo, the big animal, hippo. Yes, it just came and destroyed everything. And then the villagers said, okay, this is what we told you at the beginning, but you didn't listen to us. So sometimes the problem could be in the head of somebody, or the solution is in the head of somebody, but it's not a real issue. I will give you another example. I attended a workshop with people from Tanzania, and they were talking about an organization which is digging wells for the villagers in a place in Tanzania. And then vandalization was happening to these wells. Once they dig a well, somebody corrupt it or somebody do something to that. So after a lot of investigation, they discovered that because what they wanted to do, they wanted to save the time of the ladies because they are traveling from one village to another village for a long time, the whole day. Then they discovered that some ladies in that village are doing the vandalization. Why? They discovered that they don't want to stay at home. They want to travel, to talk, and to get their future husband. So the problem was, the solution was not matching the problem actually. They have to fix the mentality first, then they have to do that. Or they have to look for another way that cannot be destroyed. So doing the research well and studying the stakeholders, we will come to an exercise of studying the stakeholders, is crucial and happening at the beginning of the issue identification is crucial. Because if we don't do it at the beginning, we will discover that our solution is not working or we are unable to meet or to solve the issue. And secondary data to study the needs. So the primary are either qualitative or quantitative. The qualitative will be like interviews, meeting the people, reading reports, right? And the primary will be surveying, getting numbers from the society, and then you have to go through the analysis. So we have a list of primary and secondary data here. Then you can go through them and see whether you can utilize. Okay, if you are, for example, talking about health issues in this place, whatever place, then maybe you can refer to some reports of the United Nations, of the country, of the government of that place. If you don't have any report, then you have to go to your primary data. You have to go and survey the people and ask them, and we will share the slides later on with all of you, inshallah. You have to go and do your primary data gathering, and you have to listen to the people, you have to ask the people, getting the information, then analyze through one of the tools that are famous, and then you come up with your result, whether it is proven that there is an issue and you can proceed, or you have to step back and do something else. If you are using secondary data, don't go to an all data or reports. Okay, data and reports can be published by international organizations, governments, and maybe NGOs or companies or people within the society. So if you are, for example, now in 2025, you have to be aware that you are referring to a near date of the publication. You cannot go to 2000 or 2005, 20 years from now. You have to go to near data, like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years from today, because the market or the societies are changing every time, right? Now, yesterday we don't have, just 2 years ago, we don't have a problem in Gaza. Now the problem in Gaza is totally changing, right? Iran, we have this kind of changes. Just when Trump just came to the Oval Office, he changed everything in the world. People are starting to think differently because he is changing the international order. So you have to go back to the recent studies that you have to depend on. Never build your project or initiative on an old data. Okay. Okay, when to avoid this exercise? Okay, this exercise can be done twice. When you identify the issue and when you identify the solution. For identifying the issue, you can avoid it if the problem is astonishing, clearly obvious. The war in Gaza, you don't have to go and do some surveys. What surveys? You see people are killing, people are starving, right? So if the problem is totally clear, you have to avoid this kind of exercise at the beginning. You do it at the end. When you do your solution, you have to ensure that you build your solution based on clear information from the place that you're working on. But if the problem is not astonishing, is not clear, you still are not very clear, then you have to do this one twice before you start the problem and before you start the identification of the solution. Okay, after you identify the problem and you are sure that the problem is clear, now you have to identify the size of the problem today. And you go deeply into the roots of the problem. You study the current, what they call it, the current state of the problem, and then you will study the future state of the problem. When you study the future state of the problem, you will identify what kind of objective you want and the final picture. When you study the current state, you study the problem itself, the roots of the problem, and the glorifications of the problem, the impacts of the problem in the society. Okay. One of the things, you will study the stakeholders. I was talking to someone about the stakeholders, I forgot which group. So the stakeholders are those players who are affecting the issue positively or negatively. They could be positive players, those who want to solve the problem, and negative players, those who are causing or liking or they want the problem to continue. Studying them well is very important because you need to know exactly how to deal with each of them and whether you have the capabilities to go with or against them. So this analysis is many of the people, they try to, or they don't like this analysis because this is time consuming and painful, and just they write something, because writing something or filling templates is not what we want. What we want is really to understand this player, whether this player is I can deal with him or not, whether he's bigger than me or not. And if bigger than me, how can I tackle this problem? How can I go within the solution in a way that I can avoid or work with him to solve the problem at the end. Okay, we have some tools. I provided here is 2 tools, a lot of tools in the website. You can go to the internet and see how to analyze stakeholders. There are multiple tools. I selected 2 famous tools. One of them is this matrix or table, where you put the stakeholder description. You describe the stakeholder. First of all, I think there is another column, the name of the stakeholder. It could be, for example, the government, and then you describe the government, and then you categorize the government, and then their interest in the project. They like the project or they don't like the project. They are in which side, and then their influence, whether their influence is high or low. Because if their influence is high, then you have to deal with them in a different way. And then the relationship, are they, for example, the cause of the problem, or they are the benefits or the beneficiary of your intervention, or they could be your, for example, partner in the solution. So we describe all the stakeholders. There is another tool which I like actually. This tool is to categorize the stakeholders into 2 types, whether based on their power and their interest. Power, which is the influence. So you will have 4 categories. The first one are the players. For example, looking at the situation in Gaza now. I know that we cannot do a lot in Gaza, but we can help, right? The players, who are the players? Can we name some of the players? Just say.
This situation?
Yes. Hamas, okay. Israelis? The United States?
Population, the human.
The people? The Egyptians? Okay, the surrounding countries? But we have, although some of them, for example, like Taiwan, you don't have to look at them. But some, like for example, the surrounding countries, yes. The United States, yes. Israel, yes, right. The people whom you want to help, right. The resistance, yes. And then, looking at this, for example, if your project later on is supporting, for example, humanitarian, what every one of these are doing. So the players, they don't want you actually to send money, right? Then you have to look for some ways, like sending cryptocurrencies, doing this, doing that, right? So analyzing and you can have a big issue or a small issue, depending on your issue. You have to list all the stakeholders and know exactly where they stay, in which quadrant. You have the players, then you have the subject matter experts. Those people, okay, they are very interested in helping, but they don't have power. Okay, their power is very less, but they want to help, and they can give you all their expertise and things. And those people, then you know how to utilize them and how to deal with them. Some of them, maybe they can give you just an idea. Some of them, they can give you, like, I don't know, money or whatever. Then those who have a big power and they don't have big interest. Example of this?
Investors.
Investors, then you have to move them to become, because they will not invest. If you don't give them the interest, if you don't move them from this quadrant to the first quadrant, they will not be part of your matrix. Oh, in the Gaza, yes. Yeah, those are, yeah. And I think if we extend this matrix to the left side, they will be with the negative interest. They are in the interest of, you can play with this matrix, even you can extend it, and you have the negative, you have the high positive interest, high negative interest, zero interest. Okay, and then you see where to put people. This is not Quran actually, you can play with it to situate your problem. So yes, those will be with a negative interest. They want to hinder any project, right? Okay, one of the people with the high power and low interest, they are not against you, but not with you. So they have zero interest. Could be the state, for example. You have to satisfy the regulating bodies within the state, right? You have to get all the documentations, the licenses, if you want to build, for example, to dig a well or to build a school or to do whatever, right? So you have to ensure that you are meeting the criteria, otherwise they will shut down your project. So those are stakeholders that they don't have interest, they are not with you, they are not against you, but in the same time, they have the power to shut down your project. So you have to know exactly what they want and to satisfy them. Finally, those who don't care, they don't have power, they don't have interest, but they are with you. Sometimes they are the beneficiaries. Those who benefit from your project, they don't have power, they don't have, no, beneficiaries should have interest in receiving or in cooperating. They should be somewhere there, in the middle or in the high. But those people who can be that, for example, the community in the society, they will not harm you, they are not okay with you. And they don't have the power to say no or whatever. So for example, if you are building a school, those could be the neighbor citizens within the area. So now we will stop for practice. Do for your specific issue that you have identified, do your stakeholder analysis. And see whether you can proceed, or you still have a problem now. If you think that you have a problem, then you have to rethink about your issue. And try to evaluate and then see whether you can do it or not. If you still have confusion until you have the consensus, think with the end game. The end game is to work as a group. You work as a group and to have the skills of social initiatives, leaders of social initiatives. That's the main purpose of this exercise. Okay, so if you think this, for example, this problem is not suiting our abilities and things, you can change until today, until tomorrow within your groups, and we'll be like supporting you. I think Brother Helmi shared with you the coaching sessions and things. Later on we can discuss about that. So now, okay, we'll move on after we discuss about the stakeholders analysis. Stakeholder analysis will give us a very clear idea on those who are working with the problem. Now when we come to discuss the problem deeply, we go to the problem tree, and I think most of you have heard about the problem tree. When you don't stop on the problem itself or the symptoms, you go down into the depths of the problem. Some of them sometimes in business context, they call it the fishbone analysis, right? Fishbone analysis, those who study business or engineering, Six Sigma Plus, they go through the fishbone analysis. Here they call it problem tree. The problem tree, you have a problem and you have what? Roots, right? If you have a tree, you have the stem, you have the roots, and you have the branches. So the roots of the problems are the main causes of the problem, and you can go deeply into the roots as much as you can to reach the real roots of the problem. Sometimes, for example, if you go to, for example, the Gaza problem, which is everyone knows, the problem actually is the weakness of the Ummah. That's the main problem. Okay, and we cannot solve it today. We can solve a specific root or a specific root of the root. So we can go, for example, of educating kids. My game, actually, my main goal later on is to have something. Later on, when we come to the objective trees, we will talk about that. But I will be working here with the aim to solve something here. Okay, my ability, my resources. One of the brothers here showed me something about education. So you cannot solve the whole problem. You may be able only to solve a specific thing here or a specific thing down there. But then, from this, your aim is to contribute to the bigger issue, okay? To the bigger picture. So the roots, the problem tree will discuss the roots of the problem, the roots of the roots, and then what are the proliferations of these roots of this problem. For example, let's say that lack of water. What is the problem of the lack of water? Is it because of the nature itself? Is it because of some corruption happening to the country? Is it because of the war? Because the lack of water could be because of different causes, right? Then what are the proliferations of this issue? It could be, for example, health issues. No water, no cleanliness, diseases, right? And you can go up as much as you can. It depends on your ability to analyze. You can go 1 level, 2 levels, 3 levels. And sometimes you know that there are multiple levels, but you have an informed decision to stop at this level because you think this is within your ability and this is within your context. Okay, so this is what we call the problem tree. It is about analyzing the current states. It is related to the analyzing of the current states. Then we go to the future state. When we go to the future state, we talk about objective tree. The objective tree is a mirror to the problem tree. What I want to achieve. For example, the first problem, the first root that we had, sorry, I don't know where am I. The first problem here will be reflected in an objective, a small objective. You have a goal, you have objectives, and you have small objectives. Sometimes we have another tool, we call it theory of change. We call it, at this level, we call this stage preconditions. For example, I can achieve this if I achieve this kind of preconditions. So it's just a smaller goal and smaller goal and smaller goal. So after finishing the problem tree, we'll go to the objective tree, and then we will have our objectives. The color is it clear to your side? Okay, here we have the goal, the main goal. Here we have the objectives. Here we have the sub-objective, and here we have the benefits. There we have the manifestation of the problem, right? The symptoms of the problem. In the problem tree, we have the manifestation of the problem, right? For example, if lack of water will give us what? Health issues, right? Here we have what? The opposite of a health issue will be what? I don't know. Healthy society, right? Something like that. So we will, but make sure that you don't do it just mechanically. You know, mechanically, when you just copy and paste. Because here we said water problem, here water abundance. It is not that. We have to think about the situation. We have to visualize the situation, and we have to work based on that visualization. Because sometimes the mechanical work is not give us a good answer. So we have to use our intuition and our thinking very wisely. I want to stop here, but I think the time is not in our favor. So what I will do, I will proceed, and then if there is time at the end, I will give you a chance to do both these steps all together. If there is no time, then you will do it at night after Maghrib. I think you have some 2 hours. You can do it at that time. Now we'll come to the prioritization. Now I have the problem. I have my future picture, my end game. After 1 year, or after 2 years, after 3 years, if for your case, after 3 months, what I'm going to achieve. But now, am I able to solve all the problems, all the things that I identified, or my ability is only to solve specific part of it? Only specific part. For example, if I'm talking about educational issue, can I solve the educational issue within the society, the whole society, or I will be helping in a specific issue of the kids within the society, or the girl kids within the society, or the girl below school time, below 6 years old, or the boys between 7 to 10 years old. Now I have to categorize my issue very well, because I cannot solve everything. Even governments cannot solve everything. So you specify exactly what is your issue deeply now, based on the resources that you have and the interest and the previous analysis that you had. So which element will be included and which elements of the problem tree and the objective tree will be excluded of your initiative. And what are the criteria? Are you just choosing just randomly, or because of, for example, resources, because of abilities? Sometimes the legal infrastructure will not allow you to do this and that. This country doesn't allow, this country allows, right? It's not the same everywhere. So you have to list your criteria here and work based on that criteria. Okay, these are more explanation. The resources, cost effectiveness, you can do cost benefit analysis, and technical feasibility, whether you have the people who can help you in this. For example, one of the groups, they are identifying an application. Do you have the ability to create that application? You have the ability to sustain this application? Do you have the know-how? These kind of questions will help you to identify whether you proceed or not. Institutional capacity. If you are working, for example, you are a small NGO or a small club or a small society, whether your society is able to do it or not. Appropriateness. Sometimes some things are good in some societies, the others are not good in some societies. Even within the same country, you have different acceptance. Different. For example, somebody here is talking about political awareness. Okay, you cannot go to the Gulf and talk about political awareness. You will be in jail, right? Definitely, because it is not appropriate there, right? It's not appropriate there. So talking about, for example, just whatever freedom, cannot talk about open freedom. Now, for example, the United States, the country of freedom, you cannot talk about Gaza. If you talk about Gaza, they will put you in jail. And if you are a foreigner, they will deport you, right? We have cases and we have heard about that. So it depends on the appropriateness. Unless you want to be an advocate, you want to sacrifice. In this case, if you want, okay, your issue is, this is an issue, I'm going to bet my life, okay? And I'm going to put my life here on the edge to make sure that people are aware of this issue, and I can pay even my life as a cost for this issue. So, and those people are few who do this. You have people who do it in the negative and the positive way, right? So the appropriateness is important. And external program consideration. I don't know. Sometimes, okay, you come to work, if my understanding is well, sometimes you come to work on an issue, for example, of teaching kids in a society when somebody is there. He's doing it and he is fulfilling the need. So no need to just do it for the case of doing it. So if somebody is helping in solving this issue and he is covering the area, either to look for another area or to change your issue. All right. Needs prioritization. Okay. Now, if you have multiple needs, but now which one is critical? Now, for example, in Gaza, which one is critical? Safety and food, right? That's it. You cannot go, I'm going to teach kids how to write. And it's not now. That's tomorrow. Now, safety and food. Safety and food. So prioritization of needs is very important. If your work is only in education, then either you choose to wait or you choose to change. Yes, now this is very critical and important. Sometimes I have a very big issue and a very big dream, but my control is a very small. I cannot control it. So this is the control levels. There is something within your control, okay? Something you can control it. It is within your resources, within your ability. You can, for example, somebody who says about the application. I can create the application. I can launch the application. I can market the application. Is still because I am a technical person. I know how to do IT. I have the experience, right? Sometimes, okay, I have the idea. I don't have the technical ability. I have an influence. I have a friend whom I can influence to help me. So it is within the circle of my influence. Second circle is the circle of my influence. I have a donor who can help me in this. So I will go to this donor. I will go to this businessman and ask him for this, and he is generously contributing to such cases. So this is within my circle of influence. Then there is something in my circle of concern. I have a concern on this. Okay, I'm working in IT, but I have concern of, for example, in education, but my influence and my ability is not there. So try to avoid something. When you come to your issues, I know that you have multiple issues. If it is not within the first and second, circles, just avoid it for the time being. Ensure that it is within the first and the second circles. Okay, and put in your mind that you have to close it for the sake of the exercise and the sake of this getting the skill. You have to close it in 3 months. So it is within your control or within your influence. So that is, and the last circle is no concern. I don't care. This is a problem in China. I don't care about that. Sister, sorry. Okay, sustainability now. 10 minutes. Okay, we're closing. The sustainability of the program. Now, okay, I have it is within my control circle. But now, okay, when I establish this application, I need to have someone or two people to help me in maintaining the security, maintaining the things. I mean, making the program or the application working. Or if I'm going to help in a project that's going to continue for some times, then I have to ensure that I have the money to keep it going, right? So there are few things that I can do. Example of the application is going to be having a freemium, right? I have some payment, right? Subscriptions. Okay, if my for example, somebody says about the girls' education. So you can provide, for example, some paid classes for those who can pay, and free classes, or for example, for every 5 people who will pay, I will sponsor the 6th one. So I will have classes. I cannot afford without having fees, right? So the 6th one will be scholarship. I will choose this 6th person from specific society that I want. Okay, so this is to ensure that you have sustainability. You don't close tomorrow. You start today, tomorrow, I don't have money close, right? And I think many of us have gone through this kind of initiatives, exercises, where we just we have a big enthusiasm, and then tomorrow we don't have money, right? Close. No need. So that is one of the ideas, to have payment. Okay, it can be like charity with payment. That is no problem, as long as you know how to make sure that this is a charity, and it is not your own personal interest. Sometimes people start with the charity, and at the end of the day, it becomes their own business. The name is charity, but in reality, their own business. So make sure that this is a charity. Or if you are doing a social business, okay, your problem could be, for example, solving problem of education in a specific place, and it is paid. But my purpose is to help. No, it's a social business. They call it social business now. There is a trend. It is a business, a real business. You get money and you help the society. Okay? So this could be one of the things. Volunteerism. Big organizations are working through volunteerism. Volunteerism can solve a lot of money. And you can have the pro bono volunteers, some experts from big companies. They can donate their expertise and helping your cause if you know how to approach them. Tell them. And some companies, they are asking their people to help the society to get bonus at the end of the year. So if they do this and that kind of help to the society, many companies, they consider it as part of their CSR. So volunteerism is crucial. You can put it as part of your sustainability program. Partnership, you can go to big company or big player in the society, donor, and ask them for partnership. They have the place. For example, UIA, they have the place. You have a social program, right? You can have it here. They can give it this hall to you for free, right? So think about this kind of resources that you can get in order to sustain your program. You can have, for example, a contract for 1 year with a specific provider to help you for free, for example, on Saturday or on Sunday, or this kind of things. I mean, it can be a place, it can be like a bus, it can be whatever. Funding and grants. You can ask for grants from donors or endowments. Endowment sometimes is a one time, but forever. So you are going to use only the fruits, not the assets of the donations. And some donors are helping in these kind of things, but you have to have your network. You have to have your network. The easiest part are those 3. Sometimes if you have big network, you can have fund and grants. It depends on your ability to attract. I think the third session will be about proposal writing and grant and donations, right? Okay, 5 minutes left. Okay, what kind of resources you have to ensure from the beginning that you have or not have? First of all, the human resources. Okay, staff, implementing partners. What is that? Oh, contractors and vendors, and support staff. Support staff are some staffs who are not with you, but they can come to you from time to time. And you have other resources that you have to take care of, the tools and infrastructure. If you, for example, you don't have the halls, you need halls, you have to use the halls. If you are going to do it online, make sure that you have subscriptions to Zooms, to Google Meet, or to Microsoft Teams, or whatever platform that you're going to use. Time, you must ensure that the people who are volunteering, people who are working with you, they have the specific time. Not in the time of the event, they are taking like, oh, sorry, we are busy today, and the whole program is corrupted. Information, what information you need, you have to ensure that all the information that you need are there, existing, and also are there anything of resources that you identify. I want to stop for practice, but there is no time to practice. You can practice at night today, inshallah. Okay. Okay, now this is the last part, which is very important. And the project management is going to be based on this part. So, okay, in social, okay, who has taken BMB, project management course? Anybody? Amar?
MBA.
MBA is not BMB. PMB, project management professional certification. Okay, who has taken like any other project management course, whatever? Okay, good. So in this kind of 5 minutes, 3 minutes, okay, it's there. In this kind of project management certifications, they ensure that you make sure that you deliver your deliverables according to the specific criteria and quality that you promise, right? So you have your project charter, and then you have specified how to deliver the deliverables. In social projects, we don't stop at the deliverables or the, for example, in training, we don't stop at the training. If you are educating people, you don't stop at the education. If you are providing health, you don't stop at providing the health itself. Okay, you have to go beyond to see the outcomes and the impact. So I will just have it all here. So in designing your project or in designing your initiative, you have to ensure that you have the whole inputs, all the resources that we just talked about just now, and then the activities, you ensure that all the activities are implemented. Activity is not an output. Training is not understanding, right? Training, you train, people may understand or not. Then you have to measure the understanding later on, right? Outputs are, for example, the skills, the understanding, the information that people get, right? This is if we are taking, for example, the training, if you are providing a training like our sisters, advocation or whatever, then you don't have to stop here. You have to ensure that you have an outcomes. People are changing personally. People are changing personally. Sisters without hijab, they can wear hijab and these kind of things. You know how to articulate the outcomes of your program and the impact. How these people are impacting the society, are going to change their families, they're going to change their neighborhood and whatever. You can apply this one also in the health sector. If you are providing medication, that is the output. No, that's the output. And then the healthy person is the outcome.